Welcome, everyone. We are live with this edition of Small Bites, a very special edition as we launch the new book, Finding Your Blind Spots.
Let me take a moment to say hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to this very special edition of Small Bites. It is so wonderful to see friends from old and from new, and Texas is represented really strong here. I'm super excited about that, but thank you all for being here. You who are here in the webinar and you who are out there in TV land. Those of you who are actually watching live, who come every week, I want to just say thank you so much for joining me, for coming back each week, and for listening and learning and taking the things that you learn back to your campuses and classrooms. I am super excited about the book. It's been a couple of years in the making. When Solution Tree first approached me, I still remember that day. Sarah Jabbar, wave your hand. She was my acquisitions editor, and my son was at base lessons. I was dropping off. I was going to the bank for some reason, and she called me there, and I still remember that moment when Solution Tree asked me to be a Solution Tree author. And I'm super excited to finally have that come to a culmination and have the book be dropping this weekend. So thank you all for being here. Prisma, did either of you want to say anything? We've got Solution Tree here, real official.
Yeah, I just want to say how proud I am of you, Hedrick. I know that it just happened to be me who got to be the lucky first, but I know, well, first for your first academic book, you've written 2 or 3 trade books, and you've worked so hard. You've done 5. Oh my gosh, I'm silly me. No, but you've worked so hard. Your passion shines through in this book so clearly. Miranda, I'm sure, has done even better and more work with you than I did, but it's a book that's so sorely needed right now. And you, again, are just so clearly passionate about what you do. And I'm so excited I feel grateful to be a part of this, and it's finally here. I can't wait to get it in my hands. And congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yay. So the big thing is we've got a couple of things that Chic is doing, but people have asked what exactly is different about this book. As Sarah said, I've written a few trade books, and those are for middle level students to learn more about social justice issues and to learn more about Black history. And so this is a different kind of book because it's not for students, it is for educators. And there are 8 guiding principles that will help you to learn a little bit more about how to be an inclusive educator. Some of you may remember a post I did for Jennifer Gonzalez called Missing Your Mark, kind of I can't remember the exact title, but strategies that help us to not quite miss the mark. One of my favorite stories is that when I was in high school, and that is, you're there, you'll remember this because you were there. When I was in high school, I went to a predominantly white high school. And at that time, it was hard when you have generally a white audience, it's hard to get to be the homecoming queen or the captain of the football team, or those things generally fall to whatever the dominant culture is. Hey, buddy. So, the Tracy up on there, can't see, I see top of head. Okay, Tracy, and Olivia. I'm sorry, I will try to stay on task and not say, let me say hello to all my friends. I will stop saying hello because if I do not, we will be here at 8 o'clock. Now, so what I was saying is that we didn't get to be the homecoming queens and the most popular and most likely to succeed. We didn't get to be those things. Thank you very much, Sarah. So what they did was they came up with an award especially for Black people. And that award was usually probably this person who was very palatable to the dominant culture. So stop laughing, Thaddeus, not too ethnic, not too urban, just a little, I like to use the word affable. And I was named Miss Soul. And all of the white people cheered, they were so happy for me. And all of the Black people gave me the scathing looks. It's like, this girl didn't have an urban bone in her body, because I was just a nerd. And Black nerds, blurs, that wasn't a thing back in the day. So it was interesting that here I was suddenly the cool Black person, but like not. And so the missing your mark is how we try to be inclusive. A friend of mine said that in Black History Month, she had one lone Black student, and Black History Month, she asked the class a question, and then she accidentally looked at him and said, "What do you think, John?" And she knows, and she said, "Oh my God," she called me, "I was mortified. I can't believe I did that." So we try, and we are going to get it wrong. The big thing that I like to say is that we are going to get it wrong. We're going to offend, we're gonna mess up, we're gonna miss the mark. But hopefully, as we learn and grow, we will miss the mark less and less. So finding your blind spots gives you 8 guiding principles to help become a more inclusive educator and to recognize bias. Now, the thing about bias is it's become a kind of a bad word, but it's really not. Bias is simply the way that our brain, a cognitive bias, is the way our brain sorts things into different drawers, I'll say. For example, I can see a tall, 4-legged creature. Well, it could be Hal. He's a tall, well, 2-legged creature, I'm sorry. He is a tall, 2-legged creature. I know, because I got to hug him this summer. I can also see a tall, 2-legged creature with a lot more hair. That is a bear. They're 2 tall, 2-legged creatures. But if I had to think, okay, hair on the head, not hair on the body, arms and legs, and possibly can walk on all 4s, doesn't walk on all 4s. Paws, bigger teeth, smaller teeth. Which of these 2-legged creatures is dangerous to me? If I had to do that for every decision I made all day, can you imagine the exhaustion? So when you talk about cognitive bias, we're talking about how we sort information. And I'd like to just really put that at the forefront, because when it talks about 8 guiding principles to mitigate implicit bias in the classroom, that simply means that we're sorting normally, and then something goes a bit askew, and we wonder, wait a minute, was that right? Was that incorrect? One of the examples I use in the book is a 2-legged creature comes into the classroom and that creature is shouting and screaming. It's a parent. I know that interest. I know that instantly. Or I could have a 2-legged creature walk in, and it could be, I live in Texas, it could be a brown bear. I need to know, what do I do with my students? One, I'm going to call the office. Now, let's say there is a person who I don't know who is in a hoodie and he makes me feel uncomfortable. Let's say he's got his visitor badge on, but he makes me feel uncomfortable. The question is why? Is it because he's got a hoodie on? Is he from a culture, a non-dominant culture that I might not be aware of? What is it that makes me feel uncomfortable around this person? And that's something that we have to recognize in ourselves in order to be more inclusive. I have a friend who lives in the neighborhood, and we talk very openly about those kinds of images that make us feel uncomfortable around some and less comfortable around others. And we were saying that if there was a white man in a suit walking with a briefcase, even if it was dark, we'd feel less threatened than if it was some, young dude, maybe Black or white, in a hoodie, kind of walking, looking, quote unquote, suspicious, because we have seen the shadowy figure in a hoodie in he plays a role in every crime. Shadowy figure in a hoodie, medium height, medium build, and wearing a hoodie. That's kind of what we think. And it's such a thing that in the Black community, often those of us who are raising sons, we ask our students not to wear hoodies. because we're afraid that it'll raise suspicion. So all of the things in the book are just ways to help you to be inclusive. We're looking at not only Black and white issues, but we're looking at Black people, Hispanic people from different cultures. We're looking at the Muslim community, looking at the LG community, and all of the ways that we can be inclusive. So now that I have introduced the book to you, if you have questions, I would be more than happy to field those now. And since there are just a few of us, go ahead and come off mute. And yes, tell me. I'd like to also give a special welcome to David Hennel, who is the mayor of the Crazy PLN, who is probably the reason, Sarah, that you found me in the first place.
Well, thank you, David.
Oh, don't jump in all at once with the questions. It's okay.
Well, tell us the other. You mentioned 8. Tell us those 8. What signs? What are they?
Wait, let me ask a quick question. I'm supposed to have my own YouTube up, and I forgot. Keisha, can you pull up the YouTube and make sure there are no questions on there? I love you guys. Thank you so much. I am connected to everybody here, and that is the most wonderful thing. I am just excited. Yeah, you're supposed to be at my house, but that's okay. That's okay. The 8 guiding principles. Somebody help me out. Who's got the book up? I can't think on the cuff like that. I just like literally go. I don't know. Prisma, Sarah, help me. It's like number 1 is seriously, I can't. If you give them to me, I can talk about them, but I cannot yet. I don't have them memorized. I really don't.
How do you think? So far on YouTube, there are no questions, just people claiming to be placing orders as you're speaking. So pull it together, get those 8 points out, and maybe we'll get some more orders while we're online.
All right, I got 5 minutes. Somebody better pull up those 8 guiding principles. Sarah's almost got it. And it's funny because I actually had it up and I just closed it because I didn't want anything to stop my Zoom from, slow me down.
Wait, is this with the graphic at the bottom?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh wait, somebody who has a book. Yeah. Go for it.
Melody has a question. She said, "Is it scary putting this book out? So this is your baby, you're putting it in the world. Is it scary?"
So Melody is actually, and then we'll come back to the 8 principles. Melody is actually the first person who really, her book, the I'm Sorry story, was a book that I had on my nightstand for the longest time as my kind of reminder, hey, write the book, finish the book. So yes, it was very scary. I had a meltdown with George Valenzuela back in summer, because I knew that when you write this kind of a book, people don't really look at what they can gain from it, that we can all become better, that we can all love all of our kids, include all of our kids better. They just see bias and wokeism and this is terrible. And so I knew that I was going to draw fire. So yeah, it was really scary. And I've started to like my other books are on a banned book list here in Texas, where there are, I think, 865 books that people have pulled from the shelves. Those things are difficult, but it's worth it. It's important. All right, Sarah, to you. 8 guiding principles. List them off. I'm sorry.
Okay. So unless these changed in production, Miranda, because I'm looking at the last draft I saw, but here are the 8, the last time I saw them. So first one is build a sense of belonging. Second one is trade guilt for accountability.
Well, let me explain that before you go with that one.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because a lot of times we talk about white guilt, white fragility, and all of those things. And sometimes that makes people really recoil. And so I don't think that's the important thing. How you feel about, oh my God, what has happened to all these people? Oh, I feel bad. I've done something wrong. Just looking at, oh, hey, these people are not having the same access as others. Let's see how I can be better, or how I can help mitigate that difference in access. All right, go ahead. Thank you.
Of course. 3, use bias-free descriptors and language.
Oh, that's huge. The gays is one that I hear often, and I hate that. When the Blacks, the Mexicans, that's just one. Just get rid of the article in front of any group. All right, thank you. Go on.
4 is represent diverse perspectives through content and curriculum. The 5th is accept diverse forms of cultural expression.
That one's a huge one. I put some excellent references in the book about how, for example, the reason I got Miss Soul was because I tend to talk like this. But you know, when I've been here with my girl all day long, and I haven't been talking like that. I've been talking like this because I'm a Southerner, and it's how we roll. But that on a TED Talk, you don't see that much. So one or the other does not spell intelligence, does not signify intelligence. It's about allowing those, when you have bilingual students, let them have their turn and talks in Spanish, in Arabic. Do that because it actually enriches the classroom and enriches their learning experience. All right, thank you, go on.
6th is accept diverse forms of gender expression and sexual identity.
This is a hard one, I know, for a lot. I live here in the Bible Belt, and that's a hard one. I don't understand. What is this identity? It's not your business. And we don't have to, there's so many things. I don't understand math, but I had to teach, I had to teach it. I know, but I had to student teach math. So, I memorized the concepts and the formulas and spit back what I heard my teacher telling me to say. That's what I did. And so we have to be respectful of people's choices, whether or not we agree with them. And I know that's a hard place for a lot of people from the evangelical community, for example. So in that chapter, I give references that are appropriate for people who are from an evangelical background, people who already have some experience with the LG community, and also for people in the LG community, because as my girlfriend who read it told me, you don't need to tell us how to be gay better. I do know that, but being a person who is marginalized or from a marginalized community, we share some commonalities. So sometimes it's just how to navigate it, how to let stuff roll off your back. So I apologize if anybody thinks I'm telling people how to be gay better. I'm just telling you how to be marginalized better. Maybe something like that. Okay, thank you.
This is also the brilliance of not only the formal peer review that publishers do, but just having, your professional community and people that you trust, read your manuscript. Okay, so the 7th is ensure representation throughout the year, not just during months.
Okay, I know it's super duper popular to have Native American History Month, that's November. Hispanic Heritage Month, mid-October to mid-November. Black History Month, February, yay, Pride Month, June. But let's move towards actually letting all the heroes from various populations be starred in all our contents and all of our curriculum. So you can do that through books, you can do that through stories, you can do it through asking my very favorite question. And I do have a course called Who Else Was There? So those are the ways that we ensure. Just Thomas Jefferson, his wife died and he ended up siring many children with one of his slaves who was actually his sister-in-law's half-sister, I think it was, Sally Hemings. It's like telenovela stuff. So, and those are the interesting stories. So please do that. All right, go ahead, Sarah. Last one.
And the last one in this final first draft iteration, it was please don't do this. And it was
I can jump in
action.
here.
Yeah,
I can jump in here. We did change that one to actually say what it is, and I think we just changed it to avoid microaggressions.
And it's funny that we did that because Barbara Bray and I actually did a reflection, kind of do this, not that, say this, not that, many months ago. So a lot of those kinds of things, again, we missed the mark. We don't mean to. My friend who asked the little kid, the one lone Black kid, a question in Black History Month and said, well, what do you think, kiddo? She didn't mean to. It just kind of happens sometimes. So these are just things that you might not know. One, I will go ahead and say I have very long locks and people, oh, can I touch it? No, don't touch me. Touching about the face is always, or asking a Muslim student, can I see your hair? If it's a female who actually has on a hijab, that's a common thing. What does your hair look like? So it's those kinds of things that you just might not know, especially if you have been raised in a place that doesn't have a lot of diversity. Texas we are the Bible Belt, but we are quite diverse. And so you get to meet different kinds of people, and that's helpful as an educator. All right, those are all of those. If we have any other questions, I would be more than happy to take those. If not, I'm going to take you guys outside so that we can actually unpack the big box and light sparklers. And if anybody wants to have a glass of champagne while we're lighting sparklers, please feel free to do that. Hey, Chris, I see you're off camera. I know you are.
We actually
Hedrick,
have to,
yeah.
sorry, we do have questions. I saw
I'll
them
answer those first.
in the chat area. So one of them is from Anna Savino, and she says, "Oh, she's so nice. It's amazing to be here and to think about how much she has learned from you over the past 2 years. Your workshops and many courses have taught her so much and has inspired her. What motivates you through the criticism?"
You know what? Honestly, this group of people right here, I had the meanest comments. One of the lines unfortunately stuck with me. He said, you don't have brain cells and there is a place in hell reserved for you. Just awful. And I posted it kind of there on Twitter, and all of these people just kind of came and, gave me the rub on the shoulder and said, this means you're doing the right thing. And so that was, this is my group. This is my professional learning family. And I appreciate having that place that I can just come and kind of deposit those things, or, I've had private conversations with everybody on this call, and hey, this bugged me, or they've come to me about things. It's a real professional learning family, and especially since the pandemic hit, we've gotten pretty close. So I'm thankful. That motivates me and it keeps me sane.
That's perfect. That's a great way. You're so positive. I love your energy. Another one is from David Hannell. I hope I said his last name correct. How does your son feel about the book? That's very important. That's a kind of like the content receiver of that information. As educators who hear your content, I'm sure he has influence from his teachers. So how does he feel about your book?
It's been really interesting. We are a couple of generations apart. I had him actually not quite at 25, let's say that. And but it's funny how similar our experiences are in the classroom. You know what I mean? The Black History Month, when all eyes turned to him, those kinds of things. So he's experienced those things. So I've actually taken, and I'm thankful for him because he actually he allows me to share things that he's gone through. For example, the fact that he was stopped. He had his driver's license about 2.5 months, no less. And he already had gotten stopped by the police. And it was terrifying because he's seen the way those things can kind of go wrong. And it was one of the things I shared with Small Bites. So he's kind enough to let me share from his life. I appreciate that. He's also learned a lot, you know what I mean? There's so much historical references, things that you don't learn in school. And so sometimes I will send him, he's homeschooled now, and I'll send him to a couple of references from Small Bites. And he's like, God, Mom, I didn't learn any of this in school. Like, yeah, that's why I did it. So yeah, it enriches what I do. I'm thankful for him.
There's also another question from YouTube, and I really like this question because we kind of talked about it with Sheik. You do so much. You write so many books. You did so much during the pandemic. You mentioned writing all of the books. So one of the questions here is, how do you find time to write with all that you do? You do so much.
Hello, there was a pandemic. No, seriously. I mean, there was a pandemic, and so there was nothing to do. There was not a lot of driving or going to places. The whole year I was driving my kid to orchestra, and then I wasn't. And we were going to church, and then we weren't. And I was going out to this favorite little coffee bar, and then we weren't. So there was time to fill, and I filled it with my passion.
Of everybody giving you support in the chat section, but definitely whenever you're ready, take us to your reveal.
Okay, I would like to show you these, and I want to shout out my cupcake baker. Her name is, look at the cupcakes. Ube Herrera on Instagram. And now I will try to get through all of my cables without killing myself. Excuse me while I disappear for just a moment. All right, and here we go. All right. Who's can you see me? I tell you what, I will turn around this way. That way you will be able to see me. All right, I'm down. Hi. You guys can see the sparklers in the back. Everybody say hey. All right. And here comes the book. All right. I am unpacking stuff. Ooh, there's stuffing and stuff. And you can see all that. Oh, wait just a second, guys. This is not a book. I got two words. Supply chain. Prisma, you got something else because
We do have something to say.
well, I had already bought the sparklers, okay?
Yeah.
When they said they literally ran out of paper. So what's the girl to do? And this is my birthday weekend, so I was not gonna not do this. So we have, though, a very special surprise for everyone.
Yes, we this was just to build the anticipation. It was part of it. It was, I'm just gonna say it was part of the whole thing. So we will give on behalf of Solution Tree, we're gonna do a 20% off the order of the book for everybody here online who's with us via virtual, and then everybody else who's also at the launch party. You could definitely do that if you order from solutiontree.com. And then also the promo code is blindspots20.
All right.
I don't know if that's specific, so try the whole word blind spots or capitalize B and then the S on both, so blind spots 20.
All right, solutiontree.com, blind spots 20. All right, I would like to thank all of you for being here. There are so many people behind the scenes working, but I would like to thank my project manager who has made sure that everybody got their sparklers and done a whole bunch of stuff. And Tanja and Joy that are behind me, they came in and helped to do a lot of the fun last minute stuff. And lady, get out from behind the camera. How about friends, since we were 5 years old, she came all the way from Houston just to help me actually put together plates and platters and all of that for all these wonderful people behind me, because I could not have done that well on my own. My pleasure. Thank you all. Seriously, everybody here has spent meaningful moments with me. Mama, are you listening? All right. I want to thank you all. Tracy and Keisha, I think I see you guys. You guys join me every Friday. My Auntie Barbara, Miss Roz, I know you're out there somewhere. She's my 8th grade biology teacher. Just so many wonderful people here and here behind me. Thank you all so much. And how do you eat an elephant?
One small bite at a time.
Woo! Thank you very much from Small Bite.